Good afternoon. Welcome to the first Friday for the 2018-2019 school year. And yes, it is 3 o'clock. A number of persons called Lamont and said, "You've got the time wrong." But this is the change in time is a response to folks here at the Cedars community who asked to be moved a little bit later in the afternoon. And that's also helpful to a lot of the faculty and staff from McPherson College because they can finish their afternoon teaching. It opens up the number of people who can come here. It's certainly our privilege today to have the coaching staff from McPherson College and Andrew Ehling. And I first met Andrew when he was coaching baseball at McPherson College, but he didn't get to do that very long because he was drafted to become the college's first athletic director. It's also my opportunity to introduce the new Monica Rice, and his name is David Barrett. David has worked at McPherson College for 20 what, David? 28 years. First in admissions for 25, and then for another 3 or 4 years in advancement in that ballpark. So McPherson College is fortunate to have him, and David, glad to have you here.
Thank you, Steve. I'm the new Monica. I prefer Don Pardo before we get the games underway. Tim, you probably are the only person who knows amongst the coaching staff who Don Pardo is from the game show days. But today we welcome Andrew Ehling and the athletic coaching staff of McPherson College. But first, some announcements. Homecoming, October 20th. Several special events. The 50-year reunion for the class of 1968. We'll have an education department reunion on Friday evening. And Rick Tyler's, we will celebrate Rick Tyler's contribution to the McPherson College theater programs on Saturday evening at the President's House. Alumni will be receiving postcards with more details in their mailboxes. Registration for the weekend is online. Finally, next month, Friday, September 7th, we will hear from Dr. James Boyer, who is the Associate Professor of Music and directs the McPherson College Choir. His presentation is entitled 1,000 Years of Choral Music. We're going to do that in about 60 minutes, okay? So if you need to know any of the upcoming dates or programs for the First Friday series, please feel free to take a magnet home with you. I also have some Fun in the Sun flyers. And at this time, I'm turning it over to Alex Trebek, Andrew Ehling.
Or also known as Adam. For those who were at our banquet the other night, we had Dayton Moore as our keynote speaker, who's the GM of the Royals, and he called me Andrew all day up until his speech that night. Then I became Adam, and so, you know, I've been called worse, I suppose, by worse. And so, thanks for having us out here. It's my pleasure being the first Friday of the year. First, I want to introduce our coaches, and they're going to love me for this, but I'm going to have them introduce themselves, tell them what sport and maybe how long they've been here. And we'll start with Coach Doug Quint.
Doug Quint, men's soccer. I think I'm entering my 16th season.
Mark Olson. I'm with the women's soccer program, and I'm just going into my 4th season.
Dustin Wheeler, entering my 3rd year. Oh, sorry. Men and women's tennis.
You're not part of the game.
Cameron Magnol. I coach cross country and help with track. This is my 8th year at McPherson.
Robert Spies, and my wife coaches along with Magnol and myself. We're track and field. So.
Coach Moses.
I'm Brian Moses. I coach baseball, going into my 3rd year. It's a pleasure to be with you guys today.
Tim Swartzendruber, men's basketball. This is my 11th year.
I'm Jessica Cleveland. I coach volleyball, and I'm going into my 3rd season.
Josh Nichols, women's basketball, year 1.
Our newest coach. Well, again, thanks. It's my pleasure to be out here. Yeah. So we're going to, a couple years ago, I was out here and played Bulldog Jeopardy. We're going to do it again today. If your memory is good, you'll remember a lot of the questions from 2 years ago. Not much of them have changed. It is good. I'm going to give Doris a hard time. It's good to see her on time this year. You were napping, and you admitted that. You owned up to it. So it's good to see everyone here, a lot of familiar faces. But with no further ado, we'll just jump right into it. Maybe. There we go.
This is Jeopardy!
So as you know, Jeopardy, the answer is first. So I'll give you the answer, and then you got to provide the question, okay? We'll play as close to that as we can. I'll give categories. Each table is their own team, okay? Each table is their own team. I'm not sure if we should count this table. But each, yeah, these two. So yeah, each table is your own team. We'll start with this table first on they'll pick the category. And yeah, get Coach Moses over there. We need a coach at that table.
First round, the Jeopardy round.
I forgot about all the sound bites I have on here. So sports teams, coaches, Hall of Fame, NAIA All-Americans and MVPs, and then college history is our categories. Categories and price and points. Which one? Category? College history, 20 points?
Yes,
Adam. 1887.
What is the founding of the college? What is the first?
Yeah, right here, they got it first. I should have mentioned that. Founded the college.
I didn't know there was a
Very good. Year McPherson College was established. Yeah, I did forget that part. We're not keeping score. Nobody's keeping score here. I mean, and everybody gets a snow cone at the end. So, answer the question. Next category. So, you guys get to pick the next category. Same one, 40 points. Where's the mouse? Daily double, right off the bat. Sport with the highest national finish. Which one? Are you guys both at the same table, or are you by yourself? Which one's the final answer?
I'll go with him.
What is track?
Well, so Lamont brings up a good point. We have, I believe, 3 national champions in track, individual national champions. This is the highest as a team sport. So 11 and 12 made the Final Four. Men's basketball made it in 2011, 2012. So good. So multiple right answers maybe, right? Art, where do you want to go next?
I don't know what's the category.
There you go.
History for 60.
Coach football, basketball, track and field, tennis, and golf. Then worked 20 years in the MC Advancement Office?
Sid Smith.
Very good. Oh, they got first? Thank you. Thank you, Lamont. Okay. Next category? Same one, of course. Brady. Longest serving McPherson College president. He was here last time for it. So who answered first? Hold on. Was this table? Dr. Paul Hoffman. What is Paul? That's right. Let's get technical. we need to be answering with a question, right? I'm going to assume you want college history for 100? Or do you guys want to mix it up? No, 100. Another daily double. Dr. Galen Snell.
Who was the president from 1972 to 1976?
Let's see what I put on here. Nothing. So that one's hidden somewhere, and I think that was actually the question. I think I remember that trouble last time, too. Well, good job. You got 100 points. I'll give it to you. Next category. Which one do you guys want? Let's go 40. Sports who set single season win records in 2017 and 18. What is women's basketball? That is not correct. Who?
Volleyball.
Baseball and?
Help me out. Baseball and volleyball.
And?
How many are there?
Since volleyball, softball, and baseball all set single season win records this year. So we'll go to 60. Sport that won the first conference championship. Football. We'll say football here. 1923. Then the next one was in 1927-28 with basketball. Next category? Points? Keep going, sports? Okay. Number of sports who earned NAIA Scholar Team Award in 2017 and 18.
What is 15? What is? There you go. Who is? What is? We are.
What is 15? We are 15. That's correct. 15 scholar, yes. I think all but one. Go down to 100 unless somebody tells me different. Beat the number one nationally ranked team in 2016.
What is men's soccer?
Who's playing these games here? I hope that the coaches know some of these. That's correct. It was men's soccer. Oklahoma Wesleyan's in the KCAC semifinal at their place. And I believe also broke, Doug, what was it, the longest winning streak? What was it that they had in the nation? They had the longest winning streak in the nation when we broke it. Okay, should we just move on to coaches? Let's hope 20 works. Yeah, coach 4 cross-country championships. What is Art Ray? That's correct. Coaches for 40. Coach Bulldog basketball to school record 33 wins. That's right. We want to go to 60? You guys want to mix it up? 60? Uh-oh. See what the answer is. It's Doors Coffee. I don't know what. Oh, this is the question, I think. Yeah, this is, I don't know what happened here. You got a race, it looked like. Because that's not right. Yeah, so I was wrong. So see. Yeah. Very good. Very good. So I think this was, yep. Okay. Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame coach that started a coaching career at McPherson College.
Lonborg. Who's Lonborg?
There we go. Arthur Dutch Lonborg. You know, we need Carol Swinson here to have the dates because he's the one that has all the information. Okay, Hall of Fame. Any objection to that? 2018 Hall of Fame inductees. We have one in the room today. Dave, you should know this. We don't expect many people to know this because it really hasn't been shared.
What is Glenn Gayer?
Yeah. Lila Beam, Don Cameron, Glenn Gayer, and Silas O'Neill. So I told Glenn I was going to try to embarrass him today, so I guess this is it.
Spelled my name wrong.
We need one more of these right here.
I don't think so.
I'll blame Carol.
Thank you.
Oh, what happened here? Didn't go back to the home. Next one down, 3-time first team All KCAC performer and MC all-time leading scorer and rebounder. This one's kind of tricky. This is. I should have been a little bit more specific. Yeah. Dr. Carol Zink. Again, we need Carol. Carol was here 2 years ago. He was the one sharing. If you had questions, you could go to him and he could sit there and give a background. But where is he today? Someone should get him on the phone. Okay, we did the 40, going 60. Daily double. Thank you for that sound bite. Vance Carlson. That's the answer again.
Who was an NFL referee?
That's what it said. It said Big 8 championship. Did the Big 8 championship and national championship. He's, yeah, also in the Hall of Fame. Okay, let's hope this stays clear the rest of the time. Hopefully I don't have any more mess ups. Probably do, but only set of brothers in the McPherson College Athletic Hall of Fame. There we go. Very good.
Remember them? I remember the name. I don't remember.
Hall of Fame, 100 points. First MC graduate to sign a professional sport contract.
Glenn Anderson.
Huh? You had Glenn, and you had Chuck Vetter. See who got it. 2 different answers or 2 different questions? Jack Vetter. Brooklyn Dodgers, football. I didn't know the Brooklyn Dodgers had a football team. Oh yeah? Yeah. I found out Brooklyn Dodgers had football. Of course, Carol helped me with that. NAIA All-Americans and MVPs. American record holder in the 75-kilometer race walk. Augie Hurt, that is correct. Yeah, that's not an event anymore, Or is it the race? They have speed walking, I believe, is what
They
they
have
call
race
it.
walk still.
Okay.
It's just a distance they don't do very often.
Okay. Yeah, he competed in the Art Ray 5K, 2 years ago? And he race walked it, and he beat how many people? Off the race walk. McPherson College's first All-American.
Dwight McSpadden.
Nope. Nope. Anybody give up? Glenn?
Nope, I don't know.
He's in a picture with you on campus. George Kine. Well, right to the next question. Name 2 of the 3 basketball first team NAIA All-Americans. And I hope I have this current too, Coach. I'm not sure if I have this current or not. Josh Alexander? Aaron Frazier. He named there's more. First team All-Americans. These are the first team All-Americans. We did have one last year. Aaron Bakura was third team. Honorable mention. All-American. He's All-American in my book. Let's see, we went to 60, 80. Individual NAIA national champion. So we're recognizing our individual champions. And you know, I don't think I've got Anderson on here, but I know he's a national champion. We have him in our but our most recent, our Hop won pole vault in 2017. And is still training. What was he doing, Coach? What was he doing the other day? He was on some show.
He had a street pole vault competition.
Yeah, they were.
What?
Was he 2016? Thank you.
We can't hear what he did.
He did
a
professional street pole vault competition. They get all these professional athletes and they actually do it out on the street. It was in Los Angeles. And he was featured on the local news and everything.
Yeah.
Tim, here's Antoine. Tim.
High jumper.
Three-time NAIA All-American.
Derek Tony.
These are the 2 that I had on here. So you're right. We have Armando Rodriguez with men's soccer, and then Derek Tony, high jump. And AJ was 3-time. See, there's some updating. A lot of things happened last 2 years. So we went through them a lot faster this year than we did 2 years ago. Either you guys are getting, well, part of it's because some of them messed up. But a little bit about what's going on at McPherson College with athletics. We've done, in the last 2 or 3 years, we've done a lot of renovations and updates to our facility. Football, track and field, and soccer, our stadium got a fresh coat of paint, new ticket booth, a lot more concrete there. It's a lot more accessible, a lot more fan friendly. We added the ramps to the stands. And so the next kind of part of our stadium is that our track surface and our surface of our turf are 2 things that we want to update with that as soon as we can. With our turf, our artificial turf on our football field, it's actually showing up as not a good product. We had it tested. I had to do a stress test with it, and it came back positive, and you don't want that to be positive. So we are actually working with the company to get that replaced and do a warranty complaint with that. So we're hoping that we can get new turf sooner than later, and it's already paid for. That's the cross our fingers on that. Sorry? 4? There's still 4. These, for some reason, this one didn't show. And then, I don't know why 40. See, we did this one. They went straight to those questions. So we already did them. They just went straight to the questions. But good, I think. Didn't we do this one? Yes. Yeah. And then we did NAIA All-Americans. Good catch. There is... Hey, this one worked this time. It didn't work last time. MC President at the time of establishment. We already gave you the question or answer. You remember what it was? There we go. And then somehow, what was the other one we thought I missed? Yeah, it won't work. So I think we hit all of them now. I don't know, I can't get to the first one. And I'm not sure why that is. I'm not a tech savvy person, so I apologize for not being able to get to the 20 points. So turf, hopefully we'll get that. We did our football renovation with our locker room. We did a locker room with our women's basketball. Mary Hutchison Holloway Memorial Locker Room now. Holloway family graciously came forward and helped out with that project. We also built our new baseball and softball facility, and that'll, we have that completed. There's a lot of weeds out there right now. Coach Moses and his staff have been busy mowing this summer and weed eating, spraying weeds. So a lot of great work there. We had, again, as a department, and all of our student athletes combined was over a 3.0 GPA, and that's another fantastic. I mean, that's really what it's all about. I mean, we can win every game and go to the national championship, do all that stuff, but we got to get our kids to graduate. We want to set them up with a career. We want to move them on. We want them to come back to campus and enjoy their time. That's really what it's all about. And so our coaches, the people you see, our coaches in here, that's what they stress when they're recruiting. That's what they focus on first. They want to make sure that these kids that are recruited in McPherson College understand they're going to class, they're going to study hall, they're good people outside of the field, court, track. That's what's most important. We're developing whole persons. And so, again, congratulations to our student athletes and congratulations to our coaches on recruiting and retaining and graduating our student athletes. They deserve a hand. We start up, our student athletes get back next week. We have our football team getting here on August 8th, and then our men's, women's soccer, basketball get here on that Thursday, August 9th, and then cross countries gets here on Monday the 13th. Our cheer team, who we do have a competitive cheer, they're actually at camp right now in Wisconsin, and so that's a big piece of what they do. It's a big part of their experience, and so they go and they create that pride, bulldog pride, and everything, coming back with them, here. I think they get back tomorrow night or Friday night or something like that, or Saturday night. So. Any questions, comments? Yes?
In reading the paper, I noticed the tennis team has a lot of international students. Tell me how that happens. What is the basis of that?
Good question. Coach, do you want to answer that?
We recruit a lot of international students, mainly over there in like Europe and South America. They focus on one of two sports, soccer or tennis. In America, we focus on like 5 sports. So these guys basically, and the females over there, they specialize in their one specific sport. So when we bring them over, they're just another level above some of our local kids. So in recruiting, and that's kind of where it's going in the central area right now and all over the United States. Tennis is one of the biggest international sports in the world. Almost #1 over in Europe, other than soccer. So I mean, that's basically what we've been doing, bringing in different cultures from all over the world. And
How do you get their names?
how do we get them? They actually have agents. Believe it or not, they sign up with agencies. And they're kind of the middleman between, and they'll give us their names and stuff, and we'll reach out and contact them. Yeah.
And how do they do as students?
They're very good students. They're very good students. We had a lot of freshmen last year on the men's team were all 3.6 and higher. They're very intelligent.
A lot of times we find with our international students, that they really value coming over to the United States and getting their education here. So they take advantage of their opportunity when they're here, and they're very appreciative of that opportunity. Yes.
Can you tell us more about Matt College being on TV, the football team?
Yeah. So the question was, tell us about football on TV this year. We have ESPN3 is going to cover 2 of our games. So how that works, it's actually not on cable TV, and it's on, you can find it, we could probably pull it up here and, on the computer. It's on a website, and ESPN3 is essentially a website or an app that covers multiple locations. A lot of smaller colleges are on there, and the KCAC, that's our game of the week. They are now, they hired them to come in and be our game of the week. And so it's not on TV, but it appears to be, because ESPN brand is stuck to it. But it's something that you have to pull up on the computer and watch, and it's a professional production, and it's going to be exciting for us to be on that platform. But we'll have to, I was thinking about that on the way over here, is that there might be an opportunity to, maybe I'll get with Lamont about pulling the game up here and playing it in here so you could watch it. Especially we're at Sterling for one of those games, and then we're at home on the other time. But that's a good question.
Are other KCAC teams on that too?
Every week there's a different game. Yeah, feature game. So every school gets on there twice. They have an away game and a home game.
Is that
Good
just
question.
football, or what sport are you talking
They're
about?
going to do it in basketball too, but only for the schools that do not have football. So right now it's a very football specific attraction, but basketball, Oklahoma Wesleyan and York are going to get ESPN3 basketball games because they don't have football. So if we happen to be one of those games, we might get on there for basketball, and those dates haven't been announced yet.
How did that come about?
Our commissioner, Scott Crawford of the KCAC, reached out to ESPN3 and made it happen. Yeah.
How about financial scholarships, international students? Is the scholarship program different for them than domestic students?
They get a grant, an international grant. It's a $2,000 grant. Otherwise, it's about the same. So they don't have access to the financial aid, federal financial aid that our U.S. students have. So they're paying, in a way, they're paying more. And their agent, to kind of speak on that, and soccer deals with this, and tennis primarily, they have a lot of them. Their agent will indicate how much they can afford. And so we kind of know, sometimes that can work really well for us, and sometimes we just know it doesn't work and we can move on. Good question. What other questions?
Can you speak to Saturday night?
The banquet? Yeah. So we had our Bulldog Athletic Banquet last Saturday. First time we've ever done an event like that. And obviously we had a great speaker there with Dayton Moore. Dayton Moore actually spent the whole day here in McPherson with us. He got here in the morning, went out to the country club to kind of see some of our golf tournament, met some people out there, and then he came into town, did a interview with Jim Joyner and Steve Sell, and then he came on campus and spent time with our coaches, for about hour and a half or something like that. And that, I mean, that right there was a tremendous experience just to spend time with him and what he does. And we were talking to the coaches this morning how much the Kansas City Royals and McPherson College actually are so much alike in the world of sports, in the sense that the Kansas City Royals are a small market team in the professional world. McPherson College is a small market team in our collegiate world. And so there's a lot of similarities with what they do in Kansas City and the attitudes that go along with, being that kind of that little dog in the big dog's world. So Dayton by itself was just a tremendous experience on Saturday. That night, about 5 o'clock it started. We had games, we did a silent auction, did live auction, had dinner. We had over 250 people in attendance. It was really warm in our facility. This was an indoor practice facility. That's what it was built for wintertime. It wasn't necessarily built to have anyone in there in the summer. And so they only had a couple AC units for that facility, so we had to bring in some portable units, and it wasn't enough. But it was still a great event. Once everybody sat down, listened to our speaker. We have not done the final calculation on how much we raised that night, but it was more than what we anticipated. But I think the fact that we had over 250 people there all got together, we all got to visit. It was a wonderful time. Our coaches got to mingle with everyone. It was just a phenomenal night. It really turned out to be a great night. Chandler Short did a fantastic job up to that event. Chandler, you didn't introduce yourself. I guess you're not a coach. Chandler is our assistant athletic director, and she did a fantastic job organizing that event, especially a couple weeks prior, getting ready. Her and Colleen Gustafson actually did a lot of work for that event just prior. We also tried to give away a car that night, and it didn't happen. That wasn't even close, but basically how that works is we picked two winners. From everyone that played games, we picked two participants, and they had to throw a Nerf football 35 yards through the window of a vehicle. And if they did that, they get to win that car. They got about halfway there, I think, is what it ended up happening. I'm not here to talk about me. But it was a great night. I look forward, we're going to do it again next year. I think July 27th is that Saturday that we looked at. We're real excited about doing it again next year. And just getting everyone together again is really what's real important about it. But then, obviously this is our one big fundraiser. We earmarked this to be our one huge athletic fundraiser for the year. And it worked out really well. Glenn?
I loved your auctioneer.
Van?
He was fantastic.
Yeah, once he found out that we had two mics, he was down on the floor getting after it, wasn't he? Van did a great job. He raised the price pretty quick too, I found. He would jump up pretty quick with price. What else? Lamont?
So what's the biggest challenge for McPherson College athletics in the KCAC and NAIA?
Coaches? Where do you want to start?
I think there's a big disparity. I mean, we've got schools like British Columbia University that is a public university in Canada that has 30,000 students, and then we've got schools that have 200 students. And so finding the economic level that everybody can compete on the same level, I think is the hardest. Like with basketball moving to one division now, and everybody's competing against everybody, I think that's going to be the biggest future issue is how do these big, huge schools and a lot of regional small schools compete with each other financially and competitively?
I think a big challenge is trying to separate ourselves from other people. I think finding whatever that is, we got to find a way to find that niche of whatever we can do to separate ourselves from others and making the most with what we got. So it's a challenge. And I think that's why we get into athletics. We get to work with young men and women, but we're also all competitors. So we all want to compete and try to beat whoever we're competing against. Yeah.
How many student athletes are there in terms of the overall student body?
Good question. Gosh, Bruce just brought that up earlier. I think we'll have around 700 students at McPherson College, and 300. Last year we had 383 on campus, and we'll anticipate about that amount, maybe a little bit more this year. So it's anywhere from 57-58% of the student body are athletes.
Counting everybody, how many coaches?
Gosh, I should know that off the top of my head. We have 13 head coaches. We're around 30 coaches overall with assistant coaches.
Part-timers included?
Yes, that includes everyone, yeah. It does not include volunteers, though. Anyone that is employed by the college, that's who that would count.
43?
Sorry?
43 total then?
No, 28 to 30 total employed coaches. Yeah. Yes?
In the old days, the coaches had to go to the students to recruit and talk to the family and all that, I think. I don't know. But how has that changed today? How do you spend your time recruiting it? How do you find these kids?
Good question.
Unfortunately, it is. I enjoyed growing up in a world that didn't have this as a child. But now, this is it right here.
Is it easier and cheaper for you now?
Yeah.
You don't have to go to San Antonio or?
You can evaluate them on film, but it's nice to meet them in person if you can get to San Antonio to meet them.
They'll come here off the wicket, tell on the phone.
We have internationals
Go ahead.
We have internationals that'll accept scholarship offers sight unseen. I mean, they're not going to travel over to see the college, so when they get here, we actually have a kid from Tokyo, Japan coming in tomorrow. So this will be his first trip to the United States, and he's coming to McPherson College. And we've given as much information as we possibly could to get him ready for it. We'll see how it goes.
It's interesting. We'll use Skype. I don't know who's familiar with Skype or FaceTime. And so that's how a lot of our student athletes communicate with our coaches, especially our internationals. And with FaceTime, we'll actually take them on a campus tour around campus. We have coaches that walk around with their phones, showing them the facilities and the class, everything on campus. It's kind of bizarre to think about. But what we're finding is that today's 17, 18-year-old is, and I think Christy did the Generation Z last year. I think that was last year. We can call and call and call, and these kids don't seem to like to talk on the phone. It has to be like someone they know personally. But if you text them, they'll respond just like that. And they're actually more offended when you call them than when you text them. And it used to be when texting first came about, it used to be you'd get a text from somebody and it was kind of odd, and you want a phone call, it's flipped. So texting is probably the primary way of communicating with our student athletes, or through social media. And that's how we get their attention. And it's fair to say, it's fair to say for all of our coaches that can be aggravating sometimes, because we want to talk to them, we want to hear their voice, we want to see them. But we got to adapt to the world a little bit and somehow attract their attention, because they're good kids. We have great kids, but that's just how it is.
Can you speak to retention? When football season is over, are those fellows going to stay the second semester? What's the percentage maybe?
Yeah.
I want.
So last year our athletic retention was 92% from the fall to spring, and so we lost very few. Those numbers are we still don't, we'll find out here next week how many arrive. We anticipate it being fairly high. average for us has been in the 70s, low 70s, but we anticipate it being higher than the 70s that we have historically had. That's much higher than, I can't remember what the national average is, but it's much higher than the national average. So we've had good luck with that.
Can you speak to the new school in the league this year
Avila?
and where we're going with that?
We're trying to make the super conference. So Avila University out of Kansas City, Missouri, this will be their first year. They have most of the sports we have. I don't know much about them. They haven't been real strong in football. They've been strong in baseball. I think their strongest sport is cheer and dance, actually. So it'll be interesting how they join the KCAC and work within our conference. As for expanding more, there's nobody on the radar from the conference level. There's no one that we're sitting there that Scott Crawford or the conference is really identifying as adding to our conference. It's a little odd having 13 schools in our conference. That's how many we have. However, that doesn't affect every sport. However, it's affecting, probably affects basketball quite a bit because we're doing a double round robin, I guess, with them. And so you only have what, six non-conference games this year. It affects football because we have the 10-game schedule. Volleyball just does a single game round robin. Baseball is going to start earlier. I don't know how I feel about having a 14th school. If we did, we'd have to make some major changes, I think, with our schedules, but I'd almost rather have less schools, personally. Yes?
Tell us about how the baseball field developed. How does that all come about, its location?
So we met with the city, and the city offered us this piece of land over there and said, here's the spot we're kind of thinking, and they gave us we're leasing that land as of right now. We do plan to purchase that at some point, but it's a lease it's a cheap lease. It's basically, we got to give them something for the land, and that's about it. Working around that dog park. And so we have the lease for 25 years. They cannot sell it to anyone else without talking to us first. They have to give us the first right for purchase. So, but we hope that we don't want to take 25 years to purchase it. We want to try to get it, especially as we build more and more facilities out there. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Thinking about putting lights out there for softball.
We would love to have lights out there, but there's other priorities, I guess you could say, right now. Yeah.
I was really impressed that the baseball players came around to our doors, gave us pennants and a schedule. And listed. That was neat.
Yeah, Coach Moses really knows how to get out and...
Yeah, we went out schmoozing.
That was very nice.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Some schools are doing other sports like lacrosse and bowling and swimming and golf and wrestling.
Yeah. We don't have any interest in adding sports. There's nothing on the radar. That's a strategic plan just from the school in general. We're not trying to raise our enrollment through athletics and try to have, right now we're close to 60% enrollment in athletics. We're not trying to have it 70%. We're trying to, the sports that we have right now, we want to strengthen them and not focus on growing in athletics that way.
What about the conference?
The conference thinks a little different than us. The conference wants us to grow with lacrosse and wrestling, and yeah, we get a little pressure from them, but they can pressure us all they want. We're not budging. No more questions? Thanks for having us out today. We really enjoyed being here, and we hope to see you on campus soon. Thank you.